Call the meeting to order at 6:04. Stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Clerk, a roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Deal.
Here.
Councilmember Gomez.
Here.
Member Joshi.
Present.
No, I'm trying to.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Virtual background.
Councilmember Schiff Freeman.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by a notice sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, Sentinel, and News India Times on December 13th, 2019, and posted in the lobby Missile Complex on that same date.
Thank you. We have reviewed the minutes from the combined meeting of May 13th, 2020. Any comments? Okay, a motion for approval.
No, we're on the work session.
Oh, I forgot. I think you forgive me on work session.
Yeah, we got
Reports from any council committees.
Council President.
Starting with Councilman Brescher.
None at this time, Council President.
Councilman Coyle.
Thank you, Council President. I've spoken with our committee for the beautification, and I spoke to the mayor and the administration. We finished our first project on Amboy Avenue completely, and I believe it went 100% in regards to beautification. We still are maintaining, through some volunteers, our bridgescape, and now planning to move to Silver Lake area, right by the Italian American Club, and spruce up that area, presenting a plan to the mayor and the administration. We also are adding some beautification to South Main Street in Bottomtown. There's a small park there, AKA they say Gomez Park, but it's not Gomez Park. And that's through Councilman Lombardi told me that. But we're making some improvements. I also want to share through Councilman Gomez and I, the Pearson Avenue Bridge has been cleaned up continuously each week, zero graffiti for the last month. And I just want to thank Lieutenant Dudich and Councilman Gomez and Bill Thomas from the Parks Department. And last, we are working on some community gardens, and the committee will be meeting for that to start one, hopefully before the end of June. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Deal.
None, ma'am.
Councilman Gomez.
Yes, ma'am. Just a brief update on the Finance Committee. We met to start the budget process just about a week and a half ago. So we will be scheduling additional meetings with the directors, department heads, I believe in the next week and forward. So we are moving through the process and hopefully get to finish up with everyone over the next few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Joshi.
Yes, just related to the library board, we met, we had our first Zoom meeting, and I want to let everyone know that we submitted the grant application. It was a obviously longer process because of COVID. They extended the deadlines. I'm very happy that we submitted the full application, and I give a lot of credit to the director, Keith McCoy, who really just came on as an interim director, but he has stepped up and he is outstanding. He did a lot of last minute work, and it was really nice that we were able to complete the entire grant application. It was a lot of information, and we're going to hopefully get that grant. We're really not asking for much. I'm very excited for it. The project plan is on my Facebook page or Instagram page. I think it's also on the library website as well. You can see the expansion plan itself. I'm very excited about it. That's my only update.
Thank you. Councilmember Patil.
None at this time, ma'am.
Excuse me? None. Oh, because somebody was talking to me. I apologize.
None at this time.
Oh, I had a small meeting with someone having to do with electricity and the different change of electricity, but nothing came from that. We discussed it, and I have to investigate different things. I just don't have knee-jerk reactions to different things. So when I get a better understanding of the committee meeting I was with, then I would say that. I also had a meeting with the Housing Authority, and that seems to be moving along quite well. And hopefully, Councilman Coyle will get together and we'll start with in Bottomtown, and then we'll start with the beautification of that particular area. All right. Now, for the points of life. On June 29th, we do have the public hearing at Middlesex County College.
6 o'clock today.
At 6 o'clock p.m. So you can put that on your calendar. We'll be at Middlesex County College. We won't be in pictures. All right, and the Recreation Department is offering a modified summer program, which will begin like mid-July. Okay, you have to look online for the registration. And July 7th is the primary election, and since our clerk is very good with speaking on that particular information, I'll give her the floor now.
I just want to let everyone know, July 7th is the primary election. This is strictly a mail-in ballot only. The ballots are being mailed out to every registered Democrat, Republican by June 12th. If an unaffiliated voter would need to request a mail-in ballot, they could call our office at 732-248-7350. And also you can please check, I'll have updates on our website shortly after I get the direction from the county. Otherwise, right now, MiddlesexCountyNJ.gov, look under Vote 2020. That's all I have right now.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Council President,
Yes.
just points of light. Just to note, the Edison Chamber of Commerce started its first drive-in movie at the Pines Manor on Tuesday, June 16th. Our capacity was 35 cars due to COVID social distance rules. It was sold out in 1 hour. Was a free event to the community and members. We've also scheduled one for Tuesday, June 30th, which has not gone live yet. So we're just, those who have an interest just have to register. It is also free, being held in front of Lucas and Frappe Joe's. So we're happy to offer some community events to get some people out to businesses. I'm quite certain that'll be sold out as well. I'm also happy to hear that Joyce and Recreation, I believe, is doing some for July with the mayor. Some exciting stuff happening and good news. Thank you, Council President.
Thank
Council
you.
President, I also had a
Yes.
point of light.
Yes.
Just wanted to add that I had a internship application that I posted about that I'm going to be running. It's in lieu of the Edison Youth Service Corps that we would normally do. I understand that that's not, we can't have that program again this year like we used to. I posted that online. It's something that I'm going to be running by myself. And I actually had to close the application. I received 300 applications with essays in 5 days. And I keep getting inquiries from the township email, but I just wanted to know that, I wanted the public to know that I just can't accept any more applications. So I've closed that off.
So this is done on your own, Councilman.
Correct.
This is
It's
done
in
for
lieu
your own
of,
project?
yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure, because when people ask me and different parents ask me, I'll just say that's Councilmember Josie's,
Yes.
not straightforward. And I didn't want to be, I'll probably say this also at the beginning of our regular meeting, but I'm going to say this now so that the public can understand. During the public session, if you would like to speak, please use the Zoom app to raise your hand or press *9 if you're on your phone. All right? So that's what, and I'll repeat this again in case some people haven't gotten online yet. All right. Okay, so now is any comments or questions starting from our business administrator, 7A through C. Any questions or comments, 7A through C? Okay, from the number 8A through C, from the Department of Finance. Okay,
Council
number
President,
9.
Council President, can I ask about that, the temporary budget appropriations? Is that the one where we're the bank cap?
No, Councilman, that's for the 1/12 of the appropriations for last year, for the month of June.
Oh, for the month of June. Okay,
Yep.
very good. Thank you.
Yeah, like actually we've been doing it every month. All right, moving right along. From number 9A through D, from the Department of Planning and Engineering. Any questions or comments? All right. Number 10, A through E, from the Department of Water and Sewer. A through E. Comments? Questions?
Council President, question on A and B. I will ask the separate question for C. The Council President, question to Maureen. Is this part of the capital improvement budget? These two line items?
Excuse me, are you saying A, B, and C, or just A and B?
No, C is for the water department, so I'm going to ask that separately.
You're just doing A and B.
A would be part of the operating budget, and so would B. It's for bypass pumps for the sewer.
Is there a reason this cannot come from the capital budget?
Normally, these things have to have a 5-year useful life, and bypass pumps are totally temporary. And we have monies available within the budget itself for the air compressor.
Okay, and this money is coming from 2019 budget. We are not expecting anything for 2020.
No, this is all 2020 purchases.
Okay, so we have the money for this.
Yes.
And now question C, this is specific to water utility equipment. Again, this is a similar situation. We have the money for the budget, within the budget.
I'm sorry, it was on mute. Yes.
C, he's talking to C.
I'm talking about C. This is an amount to not exceed. This would be for the entire calendar year. For any purchases we'd have to make for supplies or water equipment.
Thank you.
That's it, Councilmember Patil?
Yes. Thank you, Council
Thank
President.
Council
Thank you very much.
President?
Yes.
Council President,
Councilmember Fisher.
I have a question on D and C. D is for our water, if I'm correct, right? And when I was looking through the budget, and then I was asking for like actual numbers, when we talked about salaries for the water department and what the benefits were. And there were some other issues that came up, which were pension costs and the FICA. The way that I look at it is that in real numbers, not in just a guesstimate number of, let's say, using the insurance number for what you would figure for a patrolman or a fireman, but the cheaper cost for the health insurance for somebody from the water department. I'm looking at like $600,000 in potential savings, which would cut that rate increase in half. But if I go one step further, in the budget, there was money put in there. I think it was like about $1.1 million And that money was, I was told, was to repair our water mains and our fire hydrants. And not that I'm against that, but in the $15 million bond, we have the same money allocated for that. So I would propose we pull that 1.1 million out, plus the discrepancy of the 500 or 600,000. And then I would look for us to pull out half of the rent, because we don't need the $400,000 in rent because half the year is gone. So, I mean, that would actually be instead of a 22% increase, I think that amounts to a credit given back to the customers of South Edison of maybe 3%, as opposed to a 22% rate increase. And
Are you talking about the HR thing with the salaries and stuff?
Yes, the salaries is one issue. There's salaries, there's emergency repairs. It's in both line items. And then in our $15 million bond, we had over $3 million that was allocated for emergency repairs. So, you know, again, we have the $3 million there, and then we have other money allocated in the budget for emergency repairs. And to me, to charge the people in South Edison 22% and not look to get what the actual number is, or it's like padding the numbers is how I'd like to say it. And I was trying to work through with the administration on pulling this.
In my opinion.
Well,
I don't want to get into no legal thing. I was like, in my opinion, I believe it's padding the numbers.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I found close to you're looking at $1.3 million rate increase, and I'm finding $2 million in potential savings. And what I asked was if there was a way that we could pull this and we could work with the administration on this to try and come up with what a reasonable number would be. But from what I understand is that we want to push this through and push through a 20%, rate increase. And it's something that I just can't live with. I'm willing to work with the administration and go through these numbers. I've been working with the administration now for, over a day, going through all these numbers, and some of them just don't add up. So, I'm saying, why can't we just pull this, get the numbers right, see what this increase really should be, and then move forward with something that we all feel comfortable with. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, when the time comes when we have the other meeting, then you can't pull anything now. That's a good discussion on that for this particular time. But as I state back and forth, I'm not going to get into HR numbers. I'm not going to get involved in that department of people's salaries and stuff, because the technological skills and stuff that you may need for a water department and different things that we don't know, because if we did, we wouldn't have to go and get a high-tech person to do this whole water thing. So I'm not going to get into the weeds on that particular thing. But, we could look at different things. We can look at different things and look at them. But in my opinion, I don't want to drag this water thing on so much that the rates go up to 45%, because I looked at some of the structures and I seen some of the stuff. Some of the stuff underground and on top of the ground, some of the stuff looks like somebody put it together with with glue. That's how bad it looks. I don't know if anybody knows what something looks after 22 and a half years. Try letting your house go for 22 and a half years and then say, hey, we're gonna cut a penny over here, we're gonna cut over there, and see what your house looks like after 22 and a half years. Now, that's just my opinion, because I did take the time and I did go look at different structures, and I mean, it's horrendous for what I see. It's just horrendous. All right. Anything else
Yes.
from the Department of Recreation? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, and I had the sewer, which was the next ordinance. When I was looking at that, at like the 5-year plan for the sewer, it's not that we don't need the work. I think we do need the work. You could do a little bit more, a little bit less, right? And you're talking about pennies. The major issue that I have is that in all of the line items, like for capital improvements, we're showing roughly 20% for engineering and supervision. And I know my council colleague, Mr. Joshi, was on the library, and he's probably showing an 8% for professional services. I would look for a 7 or 8 myself personally. I know vendors
I was
would
on the
look for
library
maybe
too.
10. Right. Oh, Joyce, yes, you were on there too. So
Library, you on the school board, okay?
right. So you know that those professional numbers are like 8. The vendors would like 10, but what I was looking at was 20%. So
Well,
I
I just know the school went up every year.
what's that?
I just know the school went up every year. I know that because I was on the different committees and stuff. I know the school just kept constantly going up. So
Yes, but what I'm talking about are the professional service numbers. And if the township was, let's say, looking to hire an engineer to actually do the work in the sewer department, they could get two engineers for the cost that we have in there and save the township about $500,000 a year. If that's the direction we were looking to go into, I don't have an issue with that ordinance. But if it's about giving twice the amount of what I feel would be appropriate, I just don't feel comfortable in supporting that.
yeah, and myself, I don't feel comfortable cutting corners on stuff because I want it done right the first time, because I noticed that in this town or whatever, when we cut corners, we go back and revisit it. That's why we revisiting Beeville and other places, because cutting corners does not do good for you. That's just, but I've experienced it because I've been around for a long time, and I see cutting corners. Not that I'm like, let's spend, what all over the place, but my opinion is, and anybody else can have their opinion, I don't believe in cutting corners. I believe in getting something done right now, getting it done the proper way, so it does not revisit me 4 to 5 years down the line and cost me double what it could have cost me in the beginning.
Oh, Council President, I'm sorry, I didn't explain it to you properly. I'm not talking about cutting any corners for any of the work that needs to be done. I'm in agreement with all of that, and I think that needs to be done. What I'm talking about are the professional services, and those are the services that would be applied to an engineer or an architect that would do the drawings and oversee the site, that we're showing 20%, but that you on the library were looking at 8%. And on the school board, they were looking at approximately 8%. So I'm just saying 20% is excessive. And if the administration would look back at that and say, let's hire our own people, or let's put it out to bid instead of a professional service contract and giving it to someone to just bid on a T&M basis, then yes, 100% I'm with you on it. But
yeah, but the library is different than other places. The library is 1/3 of the million. It's a totally different way that they come about with their budget. So they don't go in with like the school, and they're not with the council. It's a
Council
different way
President, when it comes to building a building, Council President, I'll disagree with you on that one. A building is a building. They have pumps, they have water, they have walls, they have roofs, they have foundations. They're basically the same entities. Some have more foundations or more plumbing, okay? But it's not that they're different. It's basically still an apple. It's just a difference between the Red Delicious and the Macintosh. So what I'm saying is, if you would just even go back and go look at the professional services that you've paid for elsewhere as a percentage, and then, you told me that you feel comfortable with it, that would be another story. Thank you.
I think Council President, I think the one thing that we can really look back throughout the years of how we operated in Edison and looking at these areas in particular, engineering is far more complex than just generalizing it as a professional service. The issue is that one person normally doesn't hold the experience that we need across the board. And so therefore it becomes cheaper and more efficient to hire people to do it on a project level and do it externally, as opposed to bringing in a fixed cost that's going to carry on for years, and it might not be the right area of expertise that we need. So it always becomes a combination of internal and external, and that's the reason why you see a lot of these areas that require a certain level of expertise to be higher than what traditionally would be something that can be farmed out to other for other supporting needs. So it's something to take into consideration. Thank you.
Councilman, yes,
Thank you.
I understand what you're saying with that. But where I was going with it, so, right, if you don't want to hire your own expert engineer that would be an expert in sewer and water, I kind of understand that. But then what I'm asking for is for it actually to be bid out and we get a competitive bid on it, as opposed to giving it to someone as a professional service and seeing where those numbers come in. Because yes, engineers cost a little bit more than architects, but you're building a building. So why would we pay the engineer more money, like you're saying, to design the building portion of it, which could be done by an architect? You know, normally you go with an architectural firm and then they sub out what they need to a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer, and they all do their very specific parts that they're actually very good at.
I think one of the things that we look at always in professional service is aligning the expertise level for someone who's going to be able to do the work. I think that we all can attest to going out to the lowest bidder doesn't really come with a level of background supporting or the alignment that you're looking for in many of these professional contracts. So building something that is very basic, maybe something that requires another level of complexity. So you know, or it's a project that is far more complex, then you want the right level of expertise. And I don't know necessarily that just throwing out a bid spec always gets you, in many cases, for those type of projects, the best fit for what you're looking to do in the project. So, and again, my opinion, sir, I respect yours, but I think that's what we've been able to find in the past.
Right. Okay. I mean, right. That's just, you know, because I do construction for a living, because I've done a lot of macerator pumps and all of this. I mean, for me, the fee is high. For you that doesn't do this for a living, I understand where you're coming from. To you, the pump station is actually could be considered a complex issue. For me, it's a kind of like a small project. It's
You've done
not
water
really
before?
any
You've done
specialty.
the water
I
company?
mean, that's my first statement, sir, because I think what I'm saying from experience is not pretending to be a builder, not pretending to be a contractor, but from experience, we've taken simple jobs that we bid to the lowest bidder and we've had significant issues. We had issues with roofing. So again, it's taken my experience of how it's done in the public sector and what those bids have gotten us in result of. So again, I entrust in the people that are leading the projects are getting the best resources to make sure that we do that right. And we do it. I think we always been efficient in how we do it, not throwing money out the window. We want to get it done right, and we want to hire the best people to get that done right correctly. And we're successful at doing many of those. So, that's my only position in it. But thank you again for your comments.
Council President, I would like to hear from Director Smith.
Hey, Member Joshi.
I'd
Councilmember
like to
Joshi.
hear from the director.
Council President, I just want to add to Councilman Gomez's comments, and I do understand Councilman Brescher, and price and saving money for the town is important. It's just overall the experience on the council over the last 4 years. I edge to agree with Councilman Gomez because the qualifications and the price, that's where I vary. So I definitely would go offline with you and sit back, Councilman Brescher, on that. But some of our engineers that handle the water and the sewer, I'm being told across the county are the best in the state, and the familiarity of sewer and water is important. So as much as I digest what you mean about saving money, I have to review the qualifications. So I understand what Gomez is saying on that note. Thank you, Council President.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we hear from Director Smith? We have an expert in the room. I'd like to utilize it.
Director Smith? Bob Smith? Okay.
Well, I mean, everybody's brought up a valid point. If you were to hire somebody internally, you're going to carry that cost on. You're going to be paying benefits, retirement, medical. You're going to have to increase the salary. You have to make it a very competitive salary if you want to get a top flight engineer in here. On the other side, if you contract it out, you know, as everyone knows, you're going to get the low bid, and you don't know if you're going to get the most qualified person. And these are essential facilities that really have to be done properly and correctly. We want to have them last a really long time. And when you go low bid, sometimes that doesn't always work out for you. I've had a firsthand experience with that. Sometimes it costs more in the long run by going with the low bid than if we would have went with a higher bid, for the mistakes and the issues we had after the fact. So it's a double-edged sword. I see both points of view, but that would be up to you folks to decide on which way you'd want to go with that. I think having Mont McDonald on board right now, I think they're an excellent firm. They do great work. I trust what they do. Where some other companies I dealt with in the past, like I just mentioned, you have to keep a really close eye on them. If you don't, you're going to have issues, and it costs us more in the long run eventually, or a few years after the fact.
I understand, because like Councilman Joshi, remember, we still have problems with Clara Barton because of that low bid. How many years is that? It's like 15 or more, right, Councilman? Remember Joshi? Because of that.
Yeah.
So
no,
now,
I just wanted to hear what he had to say. That's all.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Council President.
Number 11, the Department of Recreation.
Council President, I have a question for the business administrator. When it comes to bidding, since this is a professional service, could you send out like an RFP, and then you wouldn't necessarily have to go with the lowest bidder when you bring them all in for interviews? Would that be correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we're not bound to the lowest bidder. I mean, I don't think everybody knew that. I mean, I knew that from being on the Board of Education. I'm sure Joyce and Sam knew that. But, you know, everybody else hasn't had that experience where you put that bid out, you get the people in, you bring them, you vet the best person you have, and you try and get the best person for the best price. But thank you for clearing that up, Maureen.
Council President.
Okay, Councilmember Coyle.
Council President, I just wanted to go over B for the award the contract for the bypass pumps.
Yes.
Can I direct that to, can Director Smith walk me through that, please?
Sure. The bypass pumps, the township owns one pump. We presently have 3 pump stations that are in bypass. Pumps are not able to keep up with the flow we have coming into the stations. We're renting 3 pumps as we speak, and it's approximately $8,000 a month, and some of those pumps have been rented for well over a year. To eliminate that monthly cost, it would be wise if we purchased our own bypass pumps. They would have been paid for already. And then once we get the stations rehabilitated, we have these pumps that will be available to us whenever needed on an emergency basis.
And Bob, let me ask, is what three stations do we bypass?
One is Ford's. The other 2 off the top of my head, I'm not sure of. I have it here somewhere on my
I think
paperwork,
Tingley Lane, possibly.
I believe it's Tingley.
I can get that later from you.
I can give it to you tomorrow morning if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine. And what is the life of the pumps we're buying for $118,000?
Well, if you keep up the maintenance on them, then they're going to last you a long time. It's just routine maintenance. You're changing fluids, you're changing filters, you take care of them. They should last you for years and years.
5 years, 10 years? I'm just trying to get a time. What'd you say?
Take care of them 10 years.
10 years. Okay, so it's fair to say you're spending about $100,000 a year on the 3 pumps today, and for $118,000, you're going to purchase 2 more bypass pumps, and we'll get about 10 years out of them with maintenance. I'm just checking the savings versus the rental we've been doing.
Yes, if these pumps would have been purchased a year ago, you would have recouped your money.
Maureen, are we getting a payment plan on the $118,000? I'm just kidding. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. All right, moving right along from number 11A from the Department of Recreation. All right. From the number 12A, from the Chief of Fire. 12A, any comments, any questions? Number 13, from the Chief of Police, 13A, any comments, any questions? All right, from the council member to the planning board, Council Member Joseph Coyle.
Council President, there has not been any planning board meetings at this time. I have nothing to report. Thank you, Council President.
All right. Unfinished business, the ordinances for further consideration in public hearing and final adoption.
Council President, before you,
2017. Excuse me. Let me finish in 1 second. Then I'll. Any comments or any questions? Councilmember Patel.
I had a question on Councilman Coyle's comment.
On what?
Because there are probably last 3 months or 2.5 months, there were no planning board meetings. Councilman Coyle, is there any plan to have the meetings not twice a month, but maybe every alternate day, or maybe 2 times or 3 times a week to expedite the process?
That's a good question. I apologize. From what I understand, we're having one next week on Zoom. We're exploring that. Jim DeVecchio may have the exact answer on that. I believe we're exploring one next week. We're not holding a full planning board meeting, but I think we're doing 2 applications. I have not confirmed that yet. But it's a good question. We should move to 2 a month. I can ask the planning board chairman.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, Councilmember Patel.
Yep, thank
All
you.
Now we're on 15, any unfinished?
Now we're on 15. Unfinished businesses ordinance for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. 2070 ordinance not to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Any comments?
Council
Comments,
President,
questions? Yes.
can I ask the business administrator about this one? This is to allow the township to exceed the bank cap that you have in place now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's approved to be spent. That's correct? That would be part of the budget.
Absolutely. And as I said at the last meeting, this is just something that we do routine, and actually we bank it for use in future years.
Right. So this wouldn't be part of this budget. This would be in
correct.
case you needed funds for next year.
2021, 2022.
Otherwise, the funds would just be gone and you could never go back and get them.
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. We have a communication from Rabbi Rosenberg that I sent to all of you because I wasn't reading it on there, so you can read the information and stuff. I just wanted to make sure if he asked any of you guys if you received it. I just want to make sure you received it because I want to have open government. Now, we're again for discussion. Did you have to read that ordinance?
No,
Okay,
for
fine.
discussion items.
Okay, all right, discussion items. Nothing at this time. Councilmember Brescher.
Nothing at this time, Council President.
Councilmember Coyle.
Discussion items. What happened to them?
What happened? Your voice is gone.
You're on
Unmute
mute.
yourself. Unmute yourself, Councilmember Coyle.
Thank you. All right. Well, what do you know? Thank you, Council President. I just want to thank the administration and Mayor Tom Lenke. We've had some engagement through the Chamber of Commerce with Jay Elliott And I want to thank Jay and the administration for participating in having some meetings with our restaurants for the reopening. And not only have we gotten involved from day one with COVID-19 social distance practices and what to do in food preparation to keep our restaurants going for takeout, but now the new move through the executive order of having tables outside, I think was great that Jay Elliott participated in walking each restaurant through that opportunity. Nonetheless, we also had questions on pools being opened, and we, in addition, when fitness will come back. So I think it's been wonderful, the insight. And I just want to thank the mayor and departments for that help. And there's been several departments involved with the business community, and it's been certainly a big help. In that same breath, I want to thank the mayor for his executive order in allowing tables and chairs outside for restaurants. Those who've had pre-existing tables and chairs and those who have not will have an opportunity to have this temporary and certainly will be a big help. As we all know, restaurants are taking a huge hit through rent and the loss of business. Those who've been in the takeout world are doing great, but those who've never established a takeout business are truly suffering. Anybody in the business knows we probably cycle 90 days behind on our bills, and today they're at least averaging 180. Rents are from $5,000 a month to $35,000 a month for some of these restaurants and delis. So I tip my hat to the administration for just being involved with the businesses of the community for that help, and just thank you all around. And every council member has been available when I needed them through the chamber, and I just want to be thankful for that. I had a question through the administration, changing gears, putting my council hat back on. Edmund Street, you discussed Edmund Street for, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Coyle, can I ask you one question first before
Yes,
you go
go
to the
ahead.
business administrator?
Yeah.
Councilman Coyle, is the cleanliness, the mask and all that stuff from our health official, is that being addressed while you're sitting outside? Because, bugs and everything are outside. Was all that addressed out, cleanliness
Yes.
and all that?
Jay went over everything. I can refer to him right now, and he can go over those restrictions of family dining outside and having crossover of waitresses and waiters and servers involved in coming across your table.
Oh, and all this has been discussed with our OEM person, and all this stuff has been discussed with everybody?
Jay,
I'm serious that we got the OEM and we got the mayor. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page when somebody asks me something.
Okay, Council President, if I can, we pay multiple visits to the restaurants, and the intention is to teach, to provide, to effectively to walk them through. We actually took Executive Order 150 and created a 29-point checklist, that the restaurants basically initially use like a self-inspection list, and then we go through and we tweak it with them. So, the restaurants are going to open up on the 15th. Some of the places that we've been 2 and 3 times walking them through, training their staff and working through, like you said, about patrons wearing masks to and from, how to get them safely in and out from the restrooms and back out to the place, how to safely get their food to them, avoid the touch points or whatever. So, and I'm very proud of the restaurants. We had a good discussion with the chamber, also with our pools. We're working forward with our youth camps that are about to open up. So we've been active on the ground literally 7 days a week, with our establishments, and we'll continue to do so to make sure that everything is done safely. If somebody sees something that they're not happy with, by all means, reach out to, through OEM to us or whatever, and we'll investigate every complaint if somebody's not doing the job.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's in a timely fashion too. I want to make sure, we don't wait longer. I want to make sure it's taken care of immediately, because I don't want anything to come of it.
Council President?
Yes.
It's OEM. Like what Jay said, we were working with Jimmy Ayotte too. As they get the permits and they go out, we're going to have a copy so we could all follow up and be aware where this is all at and that they're following the guidelines.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Council President, if I can continue, and staying on the note with the business community and the chamber, our engagement is just to refer our members and the business community to the directors in charge. But from what I've heard, zoning, construction code, OEM have all gone out to look at these different outdoor tents and approve them for the safety measures. And also, I know Jay's been out there to measure tables and make sure they have equidistance for social distance. So I've been proud of the administrative lead through the Mayor Tom Lanke and the council here. And I think we're doing a remarkable job with those in the business community. On that same note, just a question to the administration. As we know, we haven't opened up fitness yet, and that's not going to be possibly till July. I'm getting some questions from the business community. If some of our fitness programs, one reached out, Satoria Academy, is it possible they could, through a permit and a timeline, could they make use of our parks to have 10 to 20 people in a shaded area away from any sports to have that use? What is the criteria in the application process?
We actually got that request this morning. I just put it through legal today. We're actually send it on to our joint insurance fund for the liability side. I should have an answer in a day or two.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I don't see it being a lot of people, but I think some of the fitness communities have a lot of members and kids that just need to get out. And they've been doing the virtual, which has been interesting to see a bunch of young kids practice karate on virtual Zoom. But it's wonderful that we can be involved in seeing people get out. And also on a mental health criteria, it's certainly great to just get out to a park. I have no other discussion for the business community. I'm open to answer questions from the council if they have any questions. If not, I was going to move to other subjects in my council comments.
All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up on Edmond Street to the engineer. I know that we delayed some response to the DOT in regards to a one-way and rectifying a resolution through the DOT on the necessary criteria to do a one-way on Edmond. Has there been any communication to the DOT?
There has been, Councilman. I think the engineers having problems getting in. But to date, I had was on my weekly conference call. There was no set date to meet with DOT as of yet, but I will check again tomorrow.
Okay. And I had a few one-ways to discuss it. I'm not going to go over every one of them, but if we can get some feedback tomorrow, Maureen, just see what direction we're going and how that's moving along.
Okay.
I had a few questions in regards to the water and the ordinance on the water. This ordinance 2071-2020, these increases in this plan here, does it include the capital improvements in this increase?
The 2020 operating budget itself does not include, it only includes our existing debt for 2020. What's in this budget is a $1.5 million line, which is titled capital outlay, which is for any water main breaks we might have this year. The monies that you're talking about to do actual capital improvements, we already did a bond resolution, the $15 million one that we did last year. So the capital improvement part of that is in that $15 million.
And what criteria are we using to make these estimates? Are we using the same report from Mott McDonald from the previous Suez capital improvement estimate, or are we doing a self-inspection with our new team of water employees?
Well, I'm only talking about the $15 million one that we already passed. We actually have specific, the pickup trucks, the backhoes, everybody has a copy of that. Also included in that is actual, not fixing water main breaks, but actual water main replacement, which is a Water Quality Act compliance issue. Peter's on the line. I can't remember exactly, there's some amount that you're supposed to do every year. That is in our capital budget for $1.2 million. Then actual replacement of hydrants and valves and that kind of stuff. Again, not mixing up the capital improvements with what water main breaks or a hydrant being knocked over by a car. That's actually in our regular budget. And then we also have monies put aside in that $15 million capital to do a portion and start our water meter replacement project. Again, outside of the operating budget.
Okay. And I know we had a discussion today about the water rates, and there's a misunderstanding on 27.2.35 where the rates are. I'm noting an 85% increase here. However, in our discussion today, you mentioned that these were the $18.66 here is part of 20 years ago. Correct?
Correct.
And are we going to modify this to show?
No, because the ordinance that you have in your hand is the only ordinance that we have, and Fran can jump in, to explain the legal side of this better. When we left the system, the only rates we had in our ordinance was that exact year. So you have to take what your existing ordinance numbers are and move them up to what the 2020 numbers are.
But the reality is these numbers here on 27-2.35 in this chart where it says size of meter, water allowance per quarter, and change per quarter. I don't have the page number here, but I just have the citing of the area. So this is just misunderstood because of the date timeline of the prior time it was took over by New Jersey American Water in the 90s. But the reality is it's much less.
Councilman, that's correct. Fran McManaman, Scotland and Bauman. The body of the ordinance is amended, and the current provisions in the ordinance that are being deleted or replaced are struck through. There's a line through them, and then the new rates and the new language is underlined and included in the amended ordinance. As Maureen stated, the rates that were in the existing Chapter 27 of the code date back to the time pre-New Jersey American Water operation back in 1997. So that's why there's a discrepancy. Those are the current rates. If you go on the website and you pull up your code, you're going to see those rates. Those are not the current rates. That's not what the users of the system are currently being charged. The rates that are included in the water rate study prepared by NW and circulated to council include the current rates as of the last increase from New Jersey American Water, which took place in July of 2019. And the proposed increase is applied to those rates.
And also B is water delivered shall be charged at the following rates. There's a 200% increase here where it's at $23.15 to $72.27 per 1,000 cubic feet. Is that also the same issue with the timeline and dates?
That's correct.
So what is the actual increase in this chart going back to the $34.67 on the top for a 5/8 to 3/4 inch line with the allowance of 950 cubic square feet?
It's a 22% increase. And I can tell you what the current rates are. That's in the water rate study, which is dated June 10th. The current New Jersey American water rates for the 5/8 meter is 23.88. But those rates are included in page 15 of the water rate study from NW.
So what is the difference? Let me roll back real quick. The 5/8 3/4 line, is that the typical residential or 1 inch? Which are we applying to the residential here on the most likely cases of a family of 4 and in a typical household? Is it the 950 or the 3,000? Which is it?
I'm going to ask Peter or Bob to weigh in on that.
So Pete Kosick, you know, the
Hey,
typical
Pete.
typical house meter is either 5/8 or 3/4 inch. It's not to get to 1 inch or larger where it starts going to a commercial. But majority of all homes are either 5/8 or 3/4 inch meters.
Okay. So what is the estimated increase for the house per household in dollar figures for the 950 3/4 inch to 5/8 line?
We also have Dennis on as well, but I believe it's $9.39. Also included in that water rate study on page 17.
Is that correct, Dennis?
Dennis, yeah.
Yes, so that's a monthly amount, correct?
Okay. And what is the total aggregate for the annual increase in revenue for the 12-month period cycle for the entire increase across the board?
For a household, or you mean total?
Well, I'd break down both if you could, please.
The household on an annual basis would go up, $939 per month on average. So it's 12 times $939, a little under $120. The current estimate is $511.92 in 19, and the increase would bring it up to $624.54.
Can you repeat that second one? I'm sorry. The first one was $9.39 for the house for some of the household. What was the second one you were comparing?
Do you have the report in front of you?
Yeah, I have I have the ordinance in front of me. I don't have the report.
Okay, so in 2019, the average household for water paid about $511.92. After the 22% increase, they would pay $624.54.
Okay, and what is the total increase? What is our revenue today without the increase, and what will our total revenue be in a 12-month cycle? And what is that exact difference?
In 2019, when New Jersey American calendar 2019, when they ran the system, the revenues were $11,800,000. After this increase, which remember is a mid-year increase, they're only getting half the value of it. The revenue in 2020 would be $13,253,000.
Repeat that again, please.
After the 22% increase, it will be $13,253,000.
And what is that different? What is that?
Different.
What is the exact difference there?
About $2 million approximately. I can calculate it for you if you give me a minute. Almost there. Give me a second.
Councilman Coyle, while Mr. Dennis looks into the numbers, this is a mid-year increase because there was no rate increase in the month of January. So even though we are saying it is 22%, like the proposal is, if you look at the, theoretically or technically effective from January, it's half. It's like 11%.
That was my next question.
Actually, for the year, it's 12.3% because you're only getting half the year. That's the estimate. The dollar increase is $1.453 million.
Okay, and can you clarify, now when you say mid-year, can you walk us through in layman terms to a resident that's listening? You say mid-year, 22%. Mid-year to me, I'm thinking you're going to charge me for 6 months. Can you walk me through the mid-year detail versus a full year?
Yes, on July 1, it's projected the rate would go up at the 22% rate. So you would only have the economic value to the system of about 12.3% because senior rates don't go up. It only applies to the other rates. So it's about 12.3% realized in 2020. And then in the first half of 21, you would have, that 12.3% realized as well, plus the 21 increase in mid-year of 3.95%. So because it's a mid-year rate increase and, you're a calendar year entity, it gets a little confusing. But I mean, that's the impact of it.
Can you explain it like a sixth grader? What is the exact increase differential? Because I understand what you're saying, but the typical person listening would probably be confused that they could be getting a 44% increase and 22% is just a half year. So just what is the apples and oranges for layman terms?
Let me see if I can find an easier way to explain it to you. All right, so if you look at
and I'm not going to explain to me. Those who are listening are in a panic over increases. This affects the South Edison community. We also have an increases in the Board of Ed. We have a potential increase of township taxes. So as you barrel it all together, this $132 for the increased difference between 511 and 624 for the year for someone doesn't include what else is happening. And there's an entire snowball effect. Seniors look at their taxes and they estimate all things that go up. No one sits and judges the school system and gives us a break. They look at us as elected officials and say, hey, my taxes are going up altogether. So that's why, and you're not explaining to me, you're explaining to the people who are listening.
So as to the average residential ratepayer, we estimate that in 2020, their monthly increase would be $9.39, and in 21 it would be $2.06.
Okay. And I guess my last question here, I want to thank the administration. I had a good call today and going over a lot of things inside this ordinance. And I want to thank the mayor and Maureen, who had several experts on the phone to discuss this. But what troubles me as I move forward with more questions on an increase, and it's not a large increase. And as you know, several of us were a part of keeping this with the township of Edison for a few reasons. But what troubles me is that we made $11 million a year, okay, and we're increasing it $1.3 million. What did we do with our money for the last, decades of revenue that we received? Maureen, did we put any money aside, or did this all go into the general fund?
New Jersey American Water was running it. None of this money was ours. This is the first year we're going to be running the water utility.
And that's a great answer, but did we receive a monthly payment or a yearly annual fee from New Jersey American Water? And what was that fee?
We haven't received that since, Fran, when July of 19, I believe. No, I think July of 18. I think it was about, off the top of my head, about 576,000, and that went into the general fund. That was actually a line item in the revenue budget.
I'm not going to ask any further questions, but one question I'd like to have answered offline later is the aggregate amount that we received from New Jersey American Water across the 20-year contract that we had. And no different than the sewer, the total 20 years of what we received in revenue, and just break that down, because it troubles me that we never put money aside for capital improvements. And now we're leaned against a small increase that should have been absorbed with the revenue we received. So I'm happy to have more questions later with meetings with all the experts, and I thank each and every one of you for coming on. But that's something I'd like to discuss offline. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Coyle, if I could just add to that and put it into perspective, this doesn't behave like its own bubble. When you take the $500,000, that's going towards the general fund. That's to minimize, if anything, the tax impact on what it is. The level of investment that it would take will be significantly more. When you cap the tax rate increase, essentially is you're using those revenues, you're not increasing anything else, but it's all part of it. It's not that you get to take the $500,000, put it aside as additional surplus. We reuse the surplus every year, we regenerate it, and it all kind of flows through the general fund. So it's not like it's going to behave by itself and it was just a separate account and put it into it. If we didn't have that $500,000 to minimize the tax impact every year, then the taxes would only go up in the general fund by that same amount of money. So it was a fee that we were getting for the lease of the water utility, but it's not money that was intended to set aside or was earmarked to set aside for capital investment. So just wanted to make that distinction there. Thank you.
Councilman Gomez, I don't argue that fact, but if you were a shareholder of that contract, you'd expect your portion to be put aside. And I just think
no, if I was a shareholder, I would expect the level of investment to be significantly higher. So
well, the thing is, I don't disagree. My point is, and I don't point to just our administration and Mayor Tom Lanke, but this is decades of commingling money that was for a purpose. Whether we do this through an entire budget or not, it's a fee that was set up for a purpose that was provided to have maintenance, to receive revenue rather than doing the service. It was $500,000 a year. And I think something should have been put aside. And this increase is not significant. And I just don't see why it couldn't have been pre-planned and put into an account so that we'd have something to reach for. And aside, so that's just, I'll leave it at that. I'm just, there's plenty of time to go into it, but that's just my reservation. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Councilmember Deal. Councilmember Deal.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to thank the Office of OEM and Andy Toth for the job they're doing through what we're going through. I appreciate the daily updates on what's going on, and I appreciate the stick-to-itiveness to make sure that we're doing the best we can through this. I know that the numbers in New Jersey have gotten better, and I'm thankful for that, certainly, and I'm glad for some of the reopening. I'm thankful for that, but we still need to be vigilant with this. This is a worldwide health crisis that has affected us all. We wouldn't be here on a Zoom meeting if we weren't going through something extremely serious, and I think we need to keep our eye on the ball with this. I don't think we can become complacent. I think we need to continue to do the things we're doing to keep ourselves safe. I think one of the reasons why New Jersey's numbers have come down is because the citizens of New Jersey did a good job understanding that social distancing, hygiene are extremely important. And as the summer months are here and we're enjoying more of the outdoors, we need to continue to do what we've been doing. This is serious. This is not like we make a mistake rescheduling a date for an event or a typo. This is serious, serious stuff, and it's something that we really need to continue to pay attention to. And I want to thank Andy Toth. I want to thank OEM. I want to thank the Chief of Police, the people who are helping us continue to do what we need to do. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilmember Gomez.
Thank you, Council President. If I can echo what Councilman Deal has said, I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of the directors, the employees, OEM that come in and day out to try to keep the town going. The mayor, who's there practically all hours of the day. Maureen, who comes in every day. I mean, there's a lot of people that I can name here today, but it takes a lot to run it. It's a lot of people to manage, and in a way, you guys are the ones that are putting yourself out there day in and day out. So it's certainly noted, and we appreciate the commitment that you put into moving this town forward. Our police, or EM, everybody that's a part of it, that it's out there every day, and being exposed to this. And I think, as Councilman Deal said, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows how their DNA is going to react to it. Every day, we still have hundreds of cases that are testing positive. And we need to maintain that level of responsibility, just like we've done for the last few months, to get us to where we're at today. If we slip up on that, it's the likelihood and probability is that it's going to get bad again. And it will really it's been a difficult thing to get through. Forget about the economics, but I think on a personal level, for so many people to get through this, none of us have experienced this in the past for at least 100 plus years. And I think we need to keep that into perspective. Let's keep on doing what we're doing. And I hate to sound like the governors, because I don't want to sound like them. That's their job. But just from a township level, let's maintain that. I think it's key, and I think it's only fair also to those people that are going in there every day and trying to keep the economy going, trying to keep the township going. And obviously our healthcare workers, what level of exposure that we're creating for them. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the effort you put forward in trying to keep this afloat. So, we certainly appreciate it, and we're committed to supporting you. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Councilmember Joshi.
Yes, there's four things that I wanted to talk about. One, as a follow-up to one of Councilman Coyle's questions to the director, when you said that the number coming in was 13,250,000 for this year, 2020, did that factor in the loss from COVID?
Who are you talking to?
Who? Oh,
this is Dennis.
Was it Peter or Bob? Oh, it was Dennis that said that. Okay.
No, it does not factor in the loss. We did an analysis of potential losses, but there's really no way to know what it might be. So we used a base case that was a pre-COVID model based on historical data.
Okay. I'm asking because that could be a significant piece if you factor in all the businesses that did not have their water running. So if we're getting that reimbursed, then our numbers just could be thrown off a lot. Correct?
Correct, but COVID is something no one can predict. So we gave you some guidance on that in our analysis, but it's hard to figure out how to blend that in because it's not known.
Well, do we know how much money is specifically coming in or has been coming in the last, even if it's just the month of January, from the businesses that were shut off?
We have some data, but in January they weren't shut off. So it's really only last month and this month, which we're only just now getting data on, where you're going to start to see that information. So in a month or two, we probably can give you a better view on that.
Okay.
I think, excuse me, sir, but I think March was the first time we were, after March 11th, because I remember that's the last time we had a meeting, and I think it was halfway through March before we were shut down.
Well, yeah, so my point was...
Billing lags, so, it takes a while to get the results.
Yeah, my point was we would be able to compare January, where it was definitely not COVID impacted, and then compare it to April when all the businesses were shut down. Obviously, certain months of the year businesses operate more, but we can just get a general understanding of what 1 month's loss would have been. But I can follow up on that at another time in private. Second, related to our permit process, if anything throughout all of COVID, what I would say we learned is a lot of things can be digital, should be digital. And related to that, I wanted to know where we are with trying to automate certain processes because, for example, tree permit. I asked on behalf of a resident who wanted a tree permit if, you know, all the things that were needed. They didn't have a survey, so they needed a tax map. Now, I found out that, you know, the tax maps are not, well, I knew the tax maps are not online for individual homes. They would have to go and pick it up or request it. Is there any reason for that?
I thought they had survey, had to have like the survey for their land. I
Yeah,
thought
but
that was their own site.
So for example, if you want to get a tree taken down, you would have to have either a survey or the tax map. You have to attach it to your permit. But this is something that you can only get in person, or you would have to request it, you know, through an Oprah request or once you, like, one way or another. My point is that it's not available online. And I went through this because I helped a resident with the application and I asked for it, but it just seemed silly to me that it was not available online. I just wanted to know if there's any reason as to why it's not online.
You talking about trees now? You talking about
No,
a tree permit?
Tax maps for residences.
Don't they have their own copy of their own tax map at home, or how does that go? Or,
No, he's looking for tax. If they can't find their survey, he's saying that the
oh,
tax
they can't
map-
find your.
right.
If you can't find your survey, then you have to find your. That's if you can't find your survey.
Correct.
Then you have to get a tax map. All
Yeah.
right.
My point is that we should have these things available online. I don't understand why it's more work for our employees. It's inefficient. And unless there's a reason why we don't do it, I don't understand it.
Well, I've experienced that when I've seen, because I've been in the building a whole lot with OEM and everything, and I've seen the experience of people not speaking English well, and I've seen older people who want to come in. Now, the other way, you're talking about expediting stuff, but you're still going to have to do the second piece, because as I've seen older people come to the building, no matter what you could tell them, they still want to come here, they still want to pay their bills, they still want to do it. So I understand what you're saying, but you got to take care of two groups of people. You got to take care of the people that have it together that's much more tech savvy than others, and then I watch the other group come in, and no matter what technology, no matter what, they still want to do it their way. I just watch them.
Councilman Joshi, I think we don't have anybody from engineering to answer that question, but it's a valid point. We don't know if it's a guideline issue or, Maureen, do you know anything about it?
You know, my quick answer, and I can look into this more, is that all our tax maps are paper. We're in the middle of redoing our tax maps with the county right now to go to a GIS system, and I believe once that happens, we'll have the capability.
Okay.
Council President, Councilman Joshi, you bring up a valid point. The Minnesota County website has everything. I mean, you can pull up a tax map, you can do a study on, if you want to open up a sneaker shop, you can do a study on the opportunity for sneakers in Edison and the demand for that, demand for cars, demand for shirts, demand for selling socks. I mean, they have everything in marketing. But what you're asking for is something we should have had years ago. But I believe maybe through Councilman Gomez and Maureen, we could somehow take a link to the Middlesex County website, because their real estate department is unbelievable. I mean, what they have there. So maybe Carla, I know, is on our board at the chamber. Maybe there could be a link provided today so that we don't have to put the tax assessor through that. Their stuff is somewhat updated. I mean, no different than what ours is updated, but we definitely are archaic on that. And I would agree with you, but who knows if we have the resources to do it, but the county does. Every realtor accesses it through a system of their MLS. So I can't see why we couldn't. And there are other services online through state.gov you can click on and get it as well. But for layman people who come to the website here, we don't have it. So I get what you're trying to say. Maybe that could be linked together, and I'm certainly willing to work with you, Councilman Joshi.
Thank you, Councilman.
My point is just that there's, like, as I look through the permit application process online, I know that there's a lot of departments that are already short-staffed. But, for example, a dog and cat license, I mean, I just feel like there are a lot of things that we can just approve online, or even a boat basin permit. Like, I can't wrap my head around why we don't just approve it online. Maureen, is there any, I mean, this really applies with a handful of these permits.
Councilman Josie, if I can ring in a lot, the boat basin, dog and cat, most of the health licenses you can apply for online.
And you get approved online as well?
Basically, I mean, some require payments, and we can take credit card payments, online from them. And then some people prefer, like as Council President said, some people like to come to the building to pick it up live. Otherwise, we mail it to them. But the answer is yes. And we actually, even with the dog and cat license, they apply online. If we don't have their information, if they have the vet information, we will go on. We'll contact the vet, verify the information. So we make it as easy as possible not to come into our building if you don't have to.
Okay. I see for the boat basin you can. For the dog and permit, I'm on it right now. It says that it's disabled for the credit. I mean, there's no digital payment that's available there.
And I can tell you, we're actually moving over to Edmonds. We're in the process of, with dog and cats in particular, we're moving that over to Edmonds. That we just had a conference call yesterday with Jim DeVico and myself, and by the end of the year, dog and cat licensing will be available through Edmonds.
Got it. Okay. And following up on our need to go digital, I wanted to ask engineering, who is not here, right? Engineering department is not here. Okay. So my question was really, what's the process of making sure that applications are completed or followed up on in an efficient manner? I didn't know, because I've had a number of people ask me, what's the timeline? Do we have a process where we know if they submit a full application, did they actually submit all the application processes? How many more days of follow-up are we going to have? I wanted to know if there was a streamlined process where we let the borrowers know of where their application is. Actually, I know the answer to the question is we don't, because we don't have that available online. But I think that that's also something that we should look into, because I understand that it could be a builder or a resident's fault that they don't get everything in on time, but it doesn't change the fact that when you don't know where your application is in the process, people tend to get frustrated. And I think that knowing that the engineering department is also, we don't have unlimited amount of bodies, I think that having that process available online as well, just to be able to track where your application is or what has been reviewed, what's not been reviewed, that would probably make this process for everyone a lot smoother.
Councilman Joshi, I can actually share what I attempted to go that same route a few years back. The first challenge that we had was that the information doesn't all reside in one place. So when you are trying to view a workflow of the applications that study, we didn't have all the data points that would be required to report that, and then some of the data points were scattered. One of the things that we were looking into was to be able to pull that data together or go into a system that can hold the entire data together. But part of that is kind of moving into with some of the stuff that the county's doing. Can we pull some of that data from there? So the vision is there. It's just the complexity of trying to bring the systems in and then trying to benefit from the existing information that we have rather than trying to recreate the wheel. So we looked at that, and then we had obviously some changes in engineering, headcounts that moved around, and we haven't been able to pursue that project to get it moving along. Obviously, on the priority level, it's difficult to manage all these things when you got burning fires, but it's in the queue of something that we have been trying to figure out for quite some time, because that is an inefficiency that we run into often. So valid point, just unfortunately hasn't been as easy as envisioned. So.
Okay. And were there software programs that you saw that were out there already? I'm assuming there are.
Yeah, so they use the big one, obviously, and engineering can speak to this a little better, is Mitchell Humphreys, which is where a lot of the data resides. And so it's not like just picking one off the shelf, is what's more of the standard, what is something that can communicate with what the county's doing, and some of the other programs that we have internally. So, but yeah, the one that they primarily use is Mitchell Humphreys, I believe.
Okay.
Mistaken.
Mr. President, I can add the software. Councilman Gomez is right. We did discuss that, I believe, 2018, 2019, and there is a statewide site. It's a vendor there. I have seen at least more than 100 towns has integrated their system, the permit system. The name of the site is simple. If you search SDL portal for any town, you can key in the name of the person and you can find the permit, and the end-to-end tracking that tells about the tax map, that talks about the when the permit was applied, what time, how many inspections happened, if it failed. It also tells you the timeline. I think we have some challenge on collecting the data points to integrate with that system. And it's the widely used SDL portal, widely used across the state of New Jersey by many, many towns.
Okay. I will look into that and ask engineering as well too. Thank you. The last point that I had was pertaining to municipal broadband. After the past few days, Bill Northgrave actually passed on a lot of information to me, and I know Councilman Gomez, you received it as well, and Council President as well. There was hundreds of pages of information. I read through almost all of it. Not one bit of information that we received was surprising to me. It was basically everything in line with what I have already read and spoke about with other directors from across the country. It's a new way that we can generate revenue instead of taxes. What I did learn is that we can't use that directly we can't use the revenue to directly subsidize municipal budget and work to bring taxes down. But we can do it if we incorporate a third party through a public-private partnership, because then that would be the only loophole in which we can do that. Now, what I want other people to also know, because I get a lot of emails and social media is always talking about this now. I think I probably hear about it 20 times a day from different people. Keep in mind that 5G and that infrastructure is very different from municipal broadband. They won't impact each other. And municipal broadband is also separate from a public Wi-Fi system. I got information on both, and they're two completely separate entities. I will pursue researching both, but it's also something that we need to get approval from not just the finance board, but from setting up a whole utility. It's something that we have to look into, and I am doing it, but it's not as simple as when people just say, "Hey, can you come bring another company in?" Because that's just not how it works at all. So I am looking into it, and Actually, my interns are also going to be putting together research that I will also spread out to the rest of the council members that are interested. So I wanted to give that update on municipal broadband.
And Councilman Josie, while you're on that, the senior citizens, because I get a lot of calls by definite voters, senior citizen block, they want their rate lowered. They're not into broadband. They just think that they deserve to have a lower rate, that if the town negotiates something, because they said after a certain age or whatever, there's only so many stations that you would watch or whatever. So they told me, I said, well, I told them that you were interested in that. So Council Vice President Joshi, if you can do something for the seniors, they'll be more than happy.
Yeah, actually related to the TV, I forgot to mention as well. Through municipal broadband, Optum is the worst piece of garbage company that we have, period. And if you think it's good, that's only because you don't have anything else to compare it with. The packages that the companies always require you to do, if you look up what other municipalities or states have done, it's not, we would be able to provide television channels independently. We wouldn't have to have our residents signing up for a package with channels that they don't need or want. You'd be able to do an a la carte. That's what other municipalities have done through this whole program. So it's multifaceted. There's a lot of complex details to it. It's not as simple as just turning it on. I'm glad that it's gained enough of a buzz that I'm being asked to look into it, but I am, and I'm going to continue. My next conversation is going to be with the local finance board, and I hope to have a better report back to the rest of the council by next month. So thank you.
Council President.
Yes.
I applaud, Councilman Joshi's efforts. This is something I think the council has, talked about, in 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I've heard it at different council meetings. I'm sure Councilman Deal can, he's the senior councilman, and I'm certain he can talk about this for hours. And I do like all the research that Councilman Joshi's doing. But if I can ask the administration, included in the fact finding that Councilman Joshi's doing, can we have an actual expert in legal and also in the actual regulatory opportunity on this as well? Because this is enormous, and I think this council is going to want to hear from other experts on this.
Legal's already started to look into this, Councilman Coyle.
Okay. And is there an expert in technology we can have? Someone in the IT field, someone in the cable field, someone in. This is an opportunity that could be a grand slam in Edison, but it shouldn't just be at the hands of the council or one councilman.
Well, I just want to clarify. Yes, I'm doing predominantly, I'm doing a lot of research on it on my own, but Bill Northgrave did provide me with a lot of hundreds of pages worth of information, and I thought that was very useful. It was more so a practical sense, what it takes to implement it, what are our drawbacks. There was a case study that was also provided not a case study, it was a thesis that was done in Franklin Township when they tried to, or when they were considering it. That information was also in line with what I had assumed and thought. So it's not just me looking into it. Bill gave me a lot of information for this too.
And I don't disagree with that, but Bill is spread as thin as a piece of paper. Although I will agree he's one of the top experts in certain fields, I wouldn't consider him someone I'm looking to go to about cable television. And I just think for the opportunity we're discussing here, that's been kicked around for 20 years, as simple, no different than we do studies for redevelopment and spend $50,000 on hiring Gruel, who may or may not do the greatest job. People argue that. We should have an expert who specializes in this field, one from regulatory and from legal. This is a big leap. I couldn't see it not happening, and it wouldn't make sense to the residents of Edison or the council to listen to the fact finding without having someone else here to listen to as well. And I respect what you're doing, Councilman Joshi. It's you're opening up a chapter that's been opened before, and you're opening up new pages, which I applaud you for, and that comes with your youth. I'm surprised you're not putting us all on streaming and canceling cable altogether, but it deserves an expert, and that's something I think is just necessary.
Yeah, Councilman Coyle, just from the conversations that I have from Councilman Joshi, I think he's giving you the global picture, but obviously understanding the process. I think so the information that he's gotten from legal is to understand what other municipalities have done across the country when they explore this, understanding what the requirements would be, and then obviously once you move into the phase of putting a plan together, obviously will have to be consultants, there will have to be legal experts in that particular arena, to your point, because then you got to put a plan in front of the board that has to approve this, in front of the local finance board and so on. And so there's multiple layers that have to be put through. But I think from what he's described to me is taking the initial steps to see if this is even feasible, considering it. And then if so, then kind of move gradually into the next steps. I don't think that he meant by next month this is all going to be figured out. A plan is going to be put in front of us, and then suddenly we kind of show up ourselves to the local finance board, or he shows up by the local finance. That's not the way that I understood it when he explained it to me. So, Councilman Joshi, if I understood it incorrectly,
you understood correctly. You understood it correctly. Maybe I should have clarified.
My question's answered. We're going to invest in experts at a certain stage of the game, and I'm
You're
happy
going to have to, absolutely. Yeah, you're going to.
Thank you, Councilman Gomez. Thank you, Councilman Joshi, and thank you, Council President.
Council President, can I ask a question on that to my council colleague?
Yes, you may.
Councilman Joshi.
Yes.
So if I have this correct, you've been looking into this, and we've talked about it, right? We talked about how this could be good. And you've now done research in that, but you're still not, let's say, sure that this is a direction that we should go in, because you're still researching it at this time. Would that be correct, or are you looking to move forward to that next step that Councilman Coyle was talking about?
No. So what I previously had done was compared the research, the data, the numbers from other states, other municipalities, and that is what I was comparing to Edison on my own, which obviously I'm not an expert in this field. I'm learning about it as I go. However, the information that Bill gave me, I was able to put both side by side in terms of the legality of what is possible, and that has helped me draw a better conclusion. So I personally believe that this is an excellent and phenomenal idea in the future for the township that can save residents hundreds of dollars. Yes, I do. And also work to bring, a stable municipal budget long term. Yeah, I do. But I'm not saying that I'm proposing this next month. I want to get to a point where I meet with the local finance board so I can understand, because in order to set it up, you need to meet with the local finance board and you have to have them approve it. I want to get those numbers. I want to see what they're looking for first, because no municipality has done it in New Jersey. So we don't have a framework to work with. So once we understand what it is they're looking for, all of us can we can have our input and see how we can work to make this best. Does that make sense?
I Yes, I was wondering because like I know that, let's say we don't have expertise in this. We don't have expertise with the local finance board. I don't even know that they have expertise in what we want to, what we're kind of looking to do. But right, at some point we have to move to what Councilman Coyle was talking about, to bring in like a professional to do that. But if you're not sold on the idea solely yet, because you're not sure that it has the value, then I say let's wait. But otherwise, if you are, then I think we should try and push this forward now, and kind of get that ball rolling and getting the professionals in to get us that information. So that's where I was going. I didn't know if you're like, I'm 100% there or I'm almost there.
Well, I think I'm there. I just want to get to a point where I have enough information for the public as well as all of you. That's all. Does that make sense? I don't want to present something knowing that I have not done all my homework. That's all I mean.
Right, but you're not going to be doing the presenting. We're going to bring in the experts to actually go through this, bring all this out, and then they're actually going to bring this and present it to the public. That's where I'm going. I'm just going. Is this all your research, and then we're going to bring professionals in later, or are we at that point to say that what, this sounds like this is a good direction. Let's move forward with it.
Yeah, when I pitch it, it would just be, let's bring the experts in now. That's all.
Okay.
All right, we're doing exploratory. We're going to move right along now. Councilmember Patel.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few things that I would like to bring to administration's attention.
Thank you.
Question to Maureen. Given the situation with COVID-19, hopefully things will open up shortly. However, there are many residents who are waiting to occupy the houses, whether they are new construction or rehab, or they purchased the house. The challenge at this point in time is getting the CO. Several residents have reached out to me. We have a tremendous backlog in engineering department. I'm not sure about the building department. Is there a way that if the internal inspection in the house is completed, and if they have a little bit of work left out or even outside work, or the outside work is completed, but the engineering has not done their due diligence, is there a way that we can issue TCO, the temporary CO, with some small deposit, giving them some short timeline of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. We just have to realize that they may or may not be able to get certain work done very quickly while there is a backlog in engineering department.
I know I worked with you on a couple different residents. That is what we're moving towards. Hopefully, things are opening up and the governor is allowing inspections to start taking place. So I think you'll see that backlog start to dissipate quickly. But anybody that does have an issue, like I said, if you bring it to my attention, I've been working with them individually to get it moving.
Thank you, Maureen. And you have been, cooperative in all the cases. And today I received 2 more cases. They sent email to engineering. Mm-hmm. It's just that residents are looking for the help. They don't want to bypass the system.
I know.
Given the situation, they're looking for help. And thank you for your help. That's it, Council President.
Thank you very much. All right. So the regular meeting going to start, and so at this particular time, the combined meeting, a motion to approve.
So move.
The combined meeting of May 13th, 2020, of the approval of minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor? Opposed? Same sign. All right. Council President remarks. First I'm going to say this, then I'm going to say something about what's been going on in the country in a few. I want to make sure I'm telling everybody again in the public arena, during the public session, if you would like to speak, please use the Zoom app to raise your hand or press *9 on your phone. Thank you. In the wake of everything that's been happening in the country and in the wake of BLM, and I don't know, I'm always at the part of being an educator, so I'm going to give out a couple of dates and information, and I've talked to some younger women, and they've expressed their concerns. This is the 100th anniversary of women being able to vote. They said they've noticed a tick up in misogynistic attitudes toward women. And people who don't know what misogynistic is, for the everyday person, anti-women sentiment of women moving and being promoted in certain areas and women representatives. They feel like most women, if not all, are most of the time attacked and asked to do twice as much as a man would do in that position. And they want to see their future being much better. And we noticed that people use the word diversity, but that's not the appropriate word we should be using now. We should be using inclusion. When you look around and you don't see enough women, you don't see enough other people, you should be more concerned with inclusion. Because diversity is fine, but if the people are not included, that's a problem. Also, 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed for African Americans to vote in America. Now, if you add the numbers up, that's even less than the women's movement. So all I'm saying is to everybody is the BLM movement is not completely about George Floyd. The movement is about inclusion and cooperation, and for you to speak out at different times if you see it that particular way. You can't just be an innocent bystander all the time now, because I've spoken with a lot of young ladies, because most of the time through my teaching and stuff, being a literacy coach, the young teachers and the young men now they're having problems with their parents because they don't want to be part of that old way of thinking. They all want to move to the future. And I'm 100% with them for them moving to the future. And the last date I'll give you is a date someone else had given me. In 1965, extraordinary, very skillful Asian Americans were allowed to come to America and get high-tech jobs. So after me giving you all the information that I have given you, and plus within our schools, we have a curriculum that was mandated, known as the Amistad curriculum. The anti-racist curriculum was mandated the same day the Holocaust curriculum was mandated, 2002. But as of this day, there's only one school district in New Jersey that's following the curriculum, which makes it very sad to me, because when people say different things and crazy stuff, I have to say they're ignorant because they didn't get the background. So if we teach people from beginning, from K to 12, these curriculums, I believe that we would not have all the people walking in the streets, all the people asking us why, young people saying, like, what's wrong with the adults? Why? What is the problem? Why are they not sitting down talking with each other? Why are they not discussing? Why is my hurt and their hurt, why is it not the same? And, I'm really, really distraught about these things that are going on right now. And I'm hoping that we will refrain from playing with words like racist if it's not really there, playing misogynistic things, and saying things that would hurt another individual that have no truth to them at all. Thank you very much. Moving right into the business, unfinished business. Thank you. Okay. Ordinances for further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Open public.
This is open to the public right now. If anybody,
No, where'd Jim go?
I don't see anyone.
Move to close the public portion.
Any public?
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Can she, public? Wait a minute, let's make sure.
Hold on one second, Councilman Deal.
Council President, is this meeting live or is there a lag?
It's live.
Is
It's
this
live.
meeting live?
Yes.
Is there any public that?
Is there any public jumped on?
They've been on.
Motion to adopt.
Yes, there are people.
Hold on.
But you have to make sure it's for the resolution.
Is
This is
save it
for the
for the,
ordinance, open
save it
public
for the
on the
ordinance, save it for the ordinance.
I can just let them in. You can talk to them.
Nobody's
I don't
speaking
see
up?
anybody, nobody speaking up.
Wait. I don't know if anybody else could see it, but I'm looking at a screen and I see two people with their hands raised.
I do too.
I see it right now. This
Yeah.
is only pertaining to the ordinance, all right? Everybody there, they may not want to talk, they may want to do the public portion.
This is open public on the ordinance.
This is open public on the ordinance.
So we're going to do Anthony Dammer first. Right?
Anthony,
Okay, Anthony Deamarin?
Yes. Hey, how are you? Hey, yes, Council President. I have a lot to say, but I am going to talk in the public portion. So I will talk to you then.
Oh, it's only on the ordinance right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Is anybody on the ordinance? I'm sorry, sir, but is anybody on the ordinance? Or are you waiting for the public portion?
Well, why don't we unmute 732-797-8735 and see Mr. Giamron recognize that. Let's give them an opportunity. There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
I yield my time. Joy said that this was for the resolutions, and I'm going to wait. I apologize. I yield my time.
All right, thank you. Go to the next one. That's it? All right, thank you very much. So, all right, so motion to close, all right.
Motion to close.
Second.
And second?
AJ.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Stop is Deal and second on Gomez. All right, I'll do a roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Sorry, I was muted.
Councilmember Hill.
I was muted, Council President. Yes, I'm sorry.
All right.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes.
New business.
Unfinished ordinance for,
New business now.
okay, one second. Going on to new business now.
Yeah, because we
Okay,
only had one
just one
for finals.
Wait.
New business.
All right. We're open for new business proposed ordinances for a public hearing set down for Wednesday, June 24th, 2020. Could the clerk read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance amends Edison Township Code to revise and update the 2020 per gallon water rates. The township charges residential and non-residential users for the discharge of normal domestic sewer, and the rates charge significant industrial users of the township sewer system. Do I have a motion to introduce?
Can I have a motion to introduce?
These tax increases are a joke, you know? That's right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Hold it.
We're on,
We're not on them yet. Okay.
okay.
All right.
She said it. Give it up.
All right. So,
Can we unmute all?
wait a minute.
I don't know.
Listen.
I'm not on.
All right. Hold on a second.
Council President, is Jim muting everybody?
No.
Yeah. No, he's not
No.
muting you guys.
No, but he should have control to mute the participants during your
Yes,
discussion.
he does. Yes, he does. He's okay.
Okay, so do we
They
have,
entitled to one little mess up every now and then, all right?
do we have a motion to introduce?
A motion, if we gotta do this, do we have a motion to introduce
2069.
2069?
Motion to introduce.
All right.
Second.
Second. Second, nobody wants to second it?
Second, Bob Deal.
Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes, introduce.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes, to introduce.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes, to introduce.
Okay.
Very good.
Public hearing, just in case, the public hearing will be on Wednesday, June 24th. Okay, now you gotta go ask me to do that one.
2071. All right, okay. Introduce, clerk will read, 2071.
An ordinance amending various sections of the Township Code to establish a connection fee for the water system, establishing rates and fees for users of the water system, and amend various sections to incorporate recommendations from the water and sewer utility.
Motion to introduce.
Council President, I move to introduce and set down for public hearing this ordinance on Wednesdays, June 24th, 2020.
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Coyle.
No.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
No.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes.
Now you need to open
I want to open, a motion to open up,
No.
oh, I'll have to make a motion. It's open right now to the public, whoever wants to discuss anything about any of the resolutions. All right, I'll close to the public. Oh,
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
Make sure nobody wants the resolutions.
he said he wants to talk in the public forum.
Now,
there's
wait a
nobody-
second. Mr. Diamarin and it sounded like Christo both said they wanted to, they both had their hands up and they both said they wanted to comment on the resolutions, I believe. So at least let's give them the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I go to Anthony. All right, Anthony Diamarin,
Yeah,
resolutions only at
no,
this time.
again, I tried hitting the, to lower my hand. I do not want to speak in the resolutions. I'm going to wait to the public portion. I apologize, Council President.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Christo.
Hear me?
Do you want to talk about the resolutions, or you want to wait to the public portion? Or you want to talk about just resolutions now, nothing else?
Public portion, God bless you in North Gray for giving me the right to speak, but I yield my time. I guess it was from before that my hand was raised still.
All right, thank you. All right, motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Second.
All right, so at this time, would anyone like to pull for a separate vote? To pull anything for a separate vote? All right. No.
The motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the
I
consent
make a
agenda?
motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes. Okay. In communications, is a motion to accept. Email received from Rabbi Rosenberg, a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Motion.
Okay, who's
Well-
second? Okay,
Second?
all right.
All in favor?
Kosher,
All in favor.
all in favor? All opposed? Same sign? All right, at this time, we're closing, a motion to close the oral, oh, no.
No,
I'm
we're
sorry,
open.
we're open. I'm looking at it all crazy. All right, now, all right, now it's time for everybody, you can talk now. This is a motion, this is open to the public. Oral petitions and remarks open to the public.
Remind them. Yes,
But
remind
you have,
everybody.
you have 6 minutes, and starting off with Anthony Deamarin. All right, Anthony.
Yes, Council President, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
All right. Well, so far, the greatest news that I heard out of tonight is that there's been no planning board meetings. As far as I'm concerned, the planning board could take the year off. I know that Councilman Patillo was asking about expediting some dates and meetings possibly. I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree anymore. I think the planning board, like I said, could go on vacation, take the year off. We'll see you, maybe in about 2022. As far as, I heard one of your colleagues, Councilman Coyle in particular, asking, a lot of intriguing questions. My only question is Councilman Coyle ever rolled up his sleeves with the administration to lower taxes in this town? That's I regress, because if I'm not mistaken, taxes have been increased every single year he's been on the council, if I'm not mistaken. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't expect him to. The other thing was, I also, through the council president, I wanted to say to the chief of police and thank his officers. I was at the two of the protests this week, and his officers did a fabulous job. I think it's time. It's time now to thank the officers. I know it was a sensitive topic, why the protests were there, but the officers deserve credit. Kept everybody safe. They did an immaculate job, and even the protesters. The protesters were peaceful as well. So kudos to everybody involved. However, I will point out that again, there was unfortunately no social distancing. I heard from Councilman Coyle talk about, who was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and talks about, outdoor seating and social distancing. Yet he was part of the march that had no social distancing and didn't say anything about it. So to me, and to all the small businesses out there who reach out to me, all right, asking for help, well, the president of the Chamber of Commerce has said nothing on this, has said nothing. So, Councilman Coyle, if you'd like to speak up on that, I'll be glad to hear from you. Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Deamarin, could you provide me a list of the businesses you're just talking to and what we can do for them?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will be gladly to email them to you. I could go in alphabetical order, numerical, however you would like it. I could send it to you. And maybe you can start sticking up for some of them. That's all I have to say, Council President. Thank you.
Yeah, Council President, the chamber and the council and the administration follows the orders of the governor and the orders of OEM and the orders of our police department, the orders of our health department. Although we would love to do things on a quick basis, the measurements in business are done through spikes and COVID-19 recommendations of who's been hospitalized over areas that have been infected, an increase in spikes. The Chamber of Commerce doesn't have an authority to change that decision by the governor. And although, it's exciting to move forward and get businesses open, I think you won't hear that from anyone. We all want businesses to be open, Council President, and it's exciting to get them open. However, this is the pace of the governor, and unless Mr. Northgrave can tell us otherwise, there's not much we can do. In fact, I think one particular store jumped the gun and did some outdoor seating. And I think Mr. Toth, our deputy chief, can attest for it. They were shut down within an hour of their their change going against the orders. So I'm here. I follow the direction of that I'm giving, and our chair and our board of directors follows the same orders. No different than I'm a councilman. I do wear a dual hat, and I'm proud to represent the business community. And again, as Mr. Diarman passes me those lists of businesses and just some contacts, I'll be sure to reach out to them and see what we can do and to offer information that we've been given if they have not received it yet.
I think, Councilman Coyle, what everybody is addressing, not just Mr. Diarman, is that when they have the marches, there is not as much social distancing going on as they are with our, with our restaurants and stuff. I know I spoke with the mayor and Maureen and OEM and all of them. I know the social distancing with that, but that's what people are talking about. People are talking about with the movement, there's not that much social distancing. So, but we can't, get into a long debate over that because it's happening all over the world. So, now it's time for. Okay. In order.
8735.
There's no name up there.
You have to just say whoever.
You have to. Oh, I'm sorry. And the other people that are here from the council mute your things when the other people are talking, but. When I let you on to speak, you still have to, I forgot to say it to the other people, but you must state your name and your address. Nothing has changed from that, but we've become live. Okay, thank you. 8735.
Hello?
Name and address.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Crystal, Edison, New Jersey. The Sunshine Law states I don't have to give my complete address, and I've been targeted lately. The chief knows about this. Fake accounts like Mayor Ryman's Nancy Garcia has been doxing me and putting my address for all out there to see. I wish not to say my address.
You could just say Crystal Edison resident then. All right.
Thank you. God bless you. Am I recognized?
Yes, you are, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like Councilman Brescher, when I'm done speaking, to address the issue about the committee of the whole and the fingerprints and who the fingerprints belong to. Okay? I would like to let Joyce know I put in applications for Human Relations Committee and Historical Board. I love my community. I lived here all my life. I would love to be included. Before this meeting started, it was said that we should not call anyone racist or say this is racist or that's racist. I just want to add in there, it's my First Amendment right to call out racists, and you can't do that.
Sir, yeah, not in this forum, no, sir. You have absolute First Amendment right, but you can't be being derogatory to any member of this council, or any member who's in the audience.
Lozman versus Riviera Beach, Florida. Lozman versus Riviera Beach, Florida. Please don't interrupt me. I didn't even act up. Can I please speak?
Sure. Just don't be acting derogatory to people. That's all.
Sir, I just made a statement. May I continue, please? I'm on the clock.
Please do.
Thank you. I hope you're all safe during this time, and your family members too. And you too, Northgrave, because I'm always saying stuff to you, and I'm sorry about that. Dear management, I've heard dear management spoken a lot by Councilman Lombardi, the ex-councilman of Edison Democrats, and Highland Park Democrats. Dear management is a code word to massacre and kill innocent animals. What gives Highland Park and Edison the right to kill something God created? You don't have that right. You shouldn't be doing that. I would like to let you guys know that the whole town council, I'm not going to single anyone out because the whole town council is included because they could have stopped it and said something. They never did. The town council is in violation of Robert's Rules of Order and Lozman versus Riviera Beach, where many times they are interrupting the public as they're speaking and they have the floor. And another case law, I can't remember the case law, but it says the public comments is public comments. You can speak for anything, such as calling people racists. I'm not doing it now, but I'm just making a statement. 2 meetings ago, Sam Joshi has taken advantage of the coronavirus pandemic by silencing members of the public. I shouldn't say members of the public. He silenced me because he disagrees with me. I'm going to be filing a tort claim on that. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. I want to talk about the racist resolution that was passed a while ago. How can you denounce racism? And I'm not speaking just to this party. I'm speaking to all Democrats in general, even the voters. How can you denounce racism when your Democratic Party perpetuates a system of racism and sex predators? Joe Biden, Hillary, and Obama supported neo-Nazis in Ukraine and ISIS in Syria. Why did your Democratic Party vote to give neo-Nazis $6 billion USA tax dollars? I believe Sam Joshi and Joe Coyle have a photo with Joe Biden. I want to give some insight into that. Joe Biden's great friend is the Grand Master of the KKK and had the most racist policy against black people. I would like the Edison Town Council to acknowledge, well, before that, I was at a protest in Highland Park and I was spit on and attacked and punched simply for wearing a Trump hat. I would like the town council to denounce that. I want the town council also to pass a resolution saying, because many countries and cities are denying it now, that the Jewish Holocaust is a historical event and the Greek-Armenian genocide is a historical event, and Turkey should stop denying it. Would you guys be interested in passing such a resolution? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I want the Edison Town Council to be progressive, you know, and get ahead of this and show the world, you know, and make Edison, you know, show them, make Edison great again. Can we pass this resolution, please?
We'll take things into consideration. You're down to 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that Constantinople belongs to Greece, Crimea belongs to Russia, Kosovo belongs to Serbia. I want to say God bless Donald Trump. He's leading the charge against the coronavirus while the Democrats are putting people with coronavirus inside nursing homes and killing elderly people. I want the Democrats to stop using the George Floyd tragedy to pursue their own political agenda. That's very disgusting. And again, I want to say I love you to everyone. I love you, Marlena. What's up, Cheryl, the town clerk? I want to say what's up to the people on the right side of the room, Maureen, the engineer dude, the police and fire people, Joyce from the recreation, and I yield. How much more time do I have, Marlena?
9 seconds.
And I want to say God bless the Madam President, Joyce Ship Freeman.
Thank you. Time's up. Very good. Next.
Last four is 8489.
8489.
Hi, it's Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to speak. I apologize. Last time I thought I sent the email, but it was in my draft. My first thing is I've noticed that there on Clara Barton on Amboy Avenue, there are some flags that are missing from the poles. I don't know what you call it. But I've also noticed in Woodbridge, they have flags to remind everyone about the censuses. Is there any way that we can get some of those flags up on Clara Barton to remind people to register for the census? And for the farmers market that is now on Wednesdays from 1 to 3 in Jay Dynasty, if we could also get some flags up on Amboy Avenue to remind everyone about the farmers market. Wanted to find out, when will the recreation programs in the park open? I'm interested in doing a town-wide yard sale. When can we do that? We were going to do the cleanup before COVID struck. And if we can do any plans to do a town-wide cleanup, I'd like to know when we could do that. I'd like to say congratulations to the graduating class of 2020. Edison High will be graduating on next Tuesday, virtual. They have a lot of things that they have overcome. I just saw an email today. The police are going to do honking at like 2:30, And the firemen's will be doing honking as well at 4 o'clock. Thank you for everyone that contributed to MC Foods on Saturday, Menlo Park on June 6th. It was 2 van loads of food and 1 truckload of food, and just received an email. The donations were about $1,700. If you can also give any food, we have a lot of families in the area that are in need, and they stock the local pantries in Middlesex. My question I saw was the heat advisory for our seniors. What services are available to our seniors when there is a heat wave, since the senior citizen centers were closed? Middlesex Water has just donated some trees to Metuchen. I was wondering if Edison could get any of those donations down the line. Thank you to the protesters and the Edison Police Department for the 2 peaceful protests. I was wondering if there's any kind of citizens group that we can partner up with the police to go over community policing policies. I was listening to Maureen talk about redoing a tax map. So I was wondering again for the Sutton's Lane or Ducos Lane, if you're looking into the discrepancy in the addresses. We had spoken about that before, and you said when you were going to do the tax maps. And last, just to remind all small businesses, the last day to apply for your PPP is June 30th. And I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to June 24th.
Maria, so while you're still there,
yes.
Joyce Furcher said, pay attention to the website. The Recreation Department, as of now, is going to be starting something in the middle of July.
Yes, I'll be happy to forward that to, I have the Clara Barton Facebook group, for Clara Barton Neighborhood Block Watch.
Okay, thank you for the due diligence of the market on Wednesdays from 1 to 3 from Jade Dynasty. And I believe that Maureen is now looking into a cleanup date for us to move forward. So
yes, we'd be happy to do that in the community. We have all the supplies. I just needed to know what's the next date.
Yeah, well, you know, we got a lot on our. She's working on that right now. We're trying to put the time and stuff together. And I, too, say congratulations to all the seniors from Edison High School. Actually, all the seniors from Edison, New Jersey at all. But I applaud them all because they've had a very stressful year. They've missed out on a lot of good things that we had when we were a senior. Hopefully, it will go good for them during the following year. And maybe during the course of the summer, they may be able to recoup some of this stuff. Once our COVID-9 gets back, we can hold it down enough. They may be able to do something in August or something before they go back to school. I'm just hoping, I'm just praying on that myself.
Council President.
Yes, thank you.
Council President, there's just, I just want to make one comment. I know you mentioned the census just now. While we were talking, I looked it up. Woodbridge has 1% of a higher response rate than Edison Township does. I want everyone to understand that because if Woodbridge's response rate is greater than Edison, which it is by 1% right now, translate that to dollars, that just means that Woodbridge is getting more money than we are. So it is, if there's any competition that we want to have, because I know that on the council we always get competitive and we always refer to Woodbridge Township. This is something, if you believe that we've had overdevelopment, if you believe we've had a lot of new housing and construction come up, now is the time to show it. Every single person needs to be counted, because if not, Woodbridge is just taking the money that we otherwise are entitled to. As of today, because you can look it up on 2020census.gov, you can see the live track of how many people responded. It takes less than 5 minutes to fill out the form. Spread it, share it with your neighbors, your family, friends. You don't need the PIN code. You can just submit it through your address. You can do it online from your phone. That's actually how I did it. It will take you less than 5 minutes. Every single person, regardless of your immigration status, just please make sure they do it. It's so quick. It's something that all of us can do. Let's not lose to Woodbridge.
Thank you very much, and I hope you keep announcing that over and over again on your page, getting that out to the public. That's very important, Councilmember Joshi. All right, who's next? Anthony D. Pasquale.
Yes, hello, Anthony Pasquale, 2 Pine Street.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a few comments, and then I have a question. As other people have said, I was at 2 of the protests in Edison over the past, I guess, week, and I also do want to compliment the police and those that organized them. That everything was well done, everything was safe, it was just a really good way of showing how the citizens can get together and let everybody know that their voices need to be heard. I also want to put out a comment about, there was a situation with an individual in the middle of the street, down the street from me last week, that I know the chief is well aware of. And I just want to compliment those officers on that situation. I did watch and witness the whole thing. And the way they handled it was just very professional. And I have to say, just watching how they handled it, I was proud to say that I'm a citizen of Edison, just because it was just handled where they respected the person very much, and it was just a very, very well done job that they did in handling this situation. And then the other question I have to the chief is, it's more of a traffic question. So I live right down the street from Sam's Club. And when you exit out of Sam's Club, you have, if you're familiar with it, you have the lane that goes straight and then the one that goes to the right where there's an arrow. And you always have people going or not going, people beeping their horns because people aren't going. So in New Jersey, there's a right on red. But the question that I always have, and I even asked 1 or 2 officers in the past about this, and they were unsure, if that light is red, can you make a right? Or do you have to wait till it's green to make a right? Because I've even asked people who live near me, and they're confused about, can you make a right or not? Or do you have to make you have to wait for that arrow to turn green? So if this is not a place for that answer, if I need to call somebody, that's fine. But I'm just trying to find out for myself and just other people who have discussed this with me. It's just something that, we'd like to know what is the law with that?
Council President, if I may answer. Sir, if there's no sign there, you are permitted to make a right on red. I'm well aware of that configuration, and it is rather confusing.
Right.
So we do understand.
Okay, is there any way to have a sign put there that says right on red or anything? I mean, I don't know if that's something that can be done legally anyway, but it's just a suggestion just to avoid that confusion, because sometimes you're in the back of a line of 3 or 4 cars and everybody's just beeping, and you feel bad for the person in front because they just might not know. So just a suggestion to, just to look at possibly.
We'll look into it for you, and then we can talk offline, and then I'll have that answer for you. We'll see if we can put something there. But usually, if there's no sign that says no right on red, you are permitted to make a right on red.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. And Anthony, if I'm that person in line and everybody's beeping, I'll probably sit there longer. Have a good evening.
You too.
Next.
Motion to close public portion.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on
one second. All right.
No, wait, no. Hold on. Elizabeth Conway, just don't raise her hand.
All right. Elizabeth Conway. She comes first. All right. Elizabeth.
Hi, good evening. Just 2 quick things. The first thing is thank you for finally going to Zoom. It makes it so much easier to listen to what's going on at the meeting. Listening on the phone was difficult, and I know, Joyce, you've had to put up with me sending messages as to how do I get on. So I truly appreciate that this has finally happened to the council. Hopefully it won't be for very long. My second thing that I've brought to the council a number of times is the roads to be paved in the township. I see that we have an active program going on with different roads being paved. But I was told I could go online and find the list to see where my neighborhood stands as far as the 20-year list. And I haven't been able to find that yet. So if I could find where in particular I could find that, I'd appreciate it. Because now that the weather is nice and a lot more people are out walking, some of the roads are a little dangerous as far as the potholes. And as I keep bringing up, those spit and runs are just not making it.
That would be something, Maureen, did you give out the list of those streets?
Yes, but I think she's talking about the plan that the engineering department did. I thought it was online. I'm not sure exactly where the location is, but I can email you it tomorrow.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you. Anything else, Liz? Oh. Christo, you got to have a rebuttal.
Thank you so much. Okay.
You only get 3 minutes on your rebuttal.
Oh, okay, I understand. Is the chief of police on the line?
He is.
Okay, I'm going to open request every summons issue because of Governor Murphy's unconstitutional orders, because I don't agree with fining Edison residents when Democratic politicians, even Governor Murphy himself, Lanky, Mayor Mittler from Highland Park, they allowed a mass gathering. Also, the Edison and Highland Park police departments and the sheriffs, they did nothing to stop a mass gathering of over 25 people from gathering, breaking the governor's executive orders. So if they're allowed to do it, I think everybody should be reimbursed, number one. And number two, at that event that I was in that started on Fox Road or in front of Duclos going down to the Highland Park High School, I'm afraid to say that there were a lot of racists, but the racists they were crazy, white, privileged individuals. I've been to protests in Perth Amboy, Philly, Carteret, never had a problem, but the people that live in Highland Park, they're complete whack jobs. And I'd like to thank the town council for allowing me to express my First Amendment right. And Chief of Police, do you think that's something you can look into, reimbursing members of the public? I mean, I don't understand how the gym owner in Belmar has to go to court, yet we're allowed to have Democratic rallies disguised through the George Floyd tragedy.
I understand what you're saying, but again, we focus on Edison Township.
I understand. What I'm saying is, can we reimburse the Edison residents? Who cares about the people not from Edison? Can we at least reimburse the Edison residents? Because right now people really need their money, and it is unconstitutional. And your police department took an oath to uphold the United States Constitution and the New Jersey State Constitution, but the United States Constitution overrules the New Jersey State Constitution. So I would really like you to reconsider that. And Chief Bryan, I'm a big fan of yours. Ever since you came in around, I guess, the June Choi administration, the police have been very good. I've seen a big time change from when I was in elementary school until now. They're very professional. And God bless you. God bless the police department. And don't listen to what people say. All lives matter, including police lives.
Thank you, Christos.
Christo.
Thank you very much. Move it. Okay. We have Steve Nagel.
Thank you, Council President. I'm glad to see that everyone is well. I just want to give a quick note of support of the comment that Council Vice President Sam Joshi said. The beginning of the census process happened right after the COVID-19 came out, and I think we missed some of the push that we could have in the municipality. Is there any way that as communication starts to come out from the administration that we can just have a simple line on the bottom promoting the importance of filling out the census and pointing people to the website? And as a follow-up, is there any way to get the Census Bureau involved in helping promote the need that we have in our municipality of having more people participate in the census? Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
I like that idea.
Anthony Dearman on a rebuttal.
All right, Anthony Deameron, rebuttal.
Yes, Council President, just a couple quick points real fast. Number one, on the building on Whitman Avenue, I don't know who could answer this, but is there going to be any type of protection or berm or trees that will go there to protect that eyesore of a warehouse that's going to be right directly in front of these poor residents on Whitman Avenue? My next question, real quick, is include about Vineyard Park. Is there any update on whether or not Vineyard Park is going to be upgraded? I know that there was all the parks. I heard recently the parks were all going to be redone. I don't know where Vineyard falls on that list. And there was one other question, but now I forgot. But yeah, that would just about do it. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. One other question, I'm sorry I didn't answer for Maria about the community policing. The people were concerned about it, and it's not my job to say that the amount of people. So, Chief Brian, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. We can have Maria touch base with Lieutenant Dudash, who is liaison for those programs that we have in place. And she can call 248-7419. And or if she wishes to email me at tbryan@edisonpd.org, I would be more than happy to help her out.
Thank you very much. Any other? Okay. Motion to close the public portion.
Motion moved.
Motion to close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
No, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. It was nice to see all of you.
Two.
Great job, Jim. Great job, Council President.